$27 billion in market value, erased. America's best-selling beer for 22 consecutive years, dethroned from first place all the way down to third. All of it traceable to a single 45-second Instagram post on April 1st, 2023. But that post didn't destroy Bud Light. It exposed a brand identity crisis years in the making, and the decisions that followed turned a promotional moment into an irreversible collapse. Anheuser-Busch began as a modest brewery in St. Louis, founded in 1857 by Dr. Adam Hammer, and rescued from bankruptcy by Eberhard Anheuser in 1860. The arrival of Adolphus Busch, Anheuser's ambitious son-in-law, transformed the operation into a national powerhouse. Budweiser, launched in 1876, became a symbol of American innovation, harnessing pasteurization and refrigerated railcars to reach drinkers across the country. By the mid-20th century, Anheuser-Busch production soared past 10 million barrels a year, cementing its place as the nation's largest brewer. The company's empire only grew. Bud Light, introduced in 1982, was designed to compete directly with Miller Lite, targeting the evolving tastes of mainstream America. Within a decade, Bud Light overtook its rivals, becoming the top-selling light beer, and, by the late 1990s, the best-selling beer in the United States. Its presence stretched far beyond the taproom. Bud Light became the beer of tailgates, barbecues, and every major American sporting event, from NFL to NASCAR. Its blue cans and familiar ads were woven into the background of everyday life. In 2008, the $52 billion acquisition by Belgian giant InBev created the world's largest brewer, AB InBev, but left Bud Light's American identity seemingly untouched. For 22 years, Bud Light's grip on the top spot appeared unbreakable. The brand's ubiquity was so complete that it seemed immune to the shifting trends and cultural crosscurrents that toppled lesser competitors. Yet, beneath the surface, that very dominance would become its greatest vulnerability. Alyssa Heinerscheid stepped into the role of Bud Light's Vice President of Marketing in July 2022 with a clear mandate: modernize a brand that, in her words, had grown fratty and out of touch. On a podcast recorded just weeks before the storm, she outlined her vision to move Bud Light beyond its reputation as the beer of tailgates and locker rooms, aiming instead for a younger, more inclusive audience. The strategy was direct, a calculated pivot away from the core demographic that had fueled Bud Light's rise for decades. The first high-profile move came on April 1st, 2023. Bud Light sent a single custom can bearing Dylan Mulvaney's face and the phrase "Cheers to 365 days of being a woman" to the transgender influencer. Mulvaney, whose social media following had surged through her daily transition diary, posted a sponsored 45-second video on Instagram. The post promoted Bud Light's March Madness contest and showcased the commemorative can, an activation meant to signal a new era for the brand. There were no national TV ads, no retail rollout, just a single influencer post in a crowded digital landscape. The decision was emblematic of Heinerscheid's approach: bold, public, and rooted in the belief that Bud Light needed to break with its past to stay relevant. The move bypassed traditional marketing channels and sidestepped the rituals that had anchored Bud Light in American culture. For a product defined by loyalty and routine, this single-channel gamble put decades of brand equity on the line. In a category where switching costs are low and allegiances run deep, the smallest misstep can trigger an outsized reaction. The spark had been struck and the brand's identity was now on trial. Within hours of Dylan Mulvaney's Instagram post, the digital backlash ignited. The hashtag #BoycottBudLight surged across X, drawing over 1 million mentions in a matter of days. Conservative influencers, some with audiences rivaling cable networks, posted videos dumping Bud Light down drains, smashing cans, and vowing never to drink it again. The most viral moment came as Kid Rock, filmed in his backyard, fired an assault rifle into several cases of Bud Light. His video racked up more than 40 million views in less than a week, transforming a niche protest into a national spectacle. The outrage didn't stay online. Country singer Travis Tritt announced he was dropping Bud Light from his tour rider. John Rich, owner of the Nashville bar Redneck Riviera, declared Bud Light would no longer be sold at his venue. These high-profile statements rippled out to smaller bars, liquor stores, and grocery chains, especially in conservative regions. Anecdotal reports surfaced of retailers cutting Bud Light shelf space by as much as 20%. Store managers described regulars switching to Coors Light or Miller Lite overnight. Social media filled with photos of untouched Bud Light displays beside empty shelves for rival brands. The effect was immediate and visible. Retailers grew uneasy as inventory piled up, and distributors fielded calls from angry customers and nervous store owners. In a category where brand loyalty is fierce, but switching costs are low, Bud Light's core drinkers proved willing to abandon decades of habit in a single weekend. The shockwave forced Bud Light's leadership to confront a crisis moving far faster than any traditional corporate playbook. Corporate leadership faced mounting pressure as the boycott intensified, but the response from AB InBev only deepened the crisis. CEO Michel Doukeris attempted to distance the company from the controversy, telling investors that the Mulvaney partnership was not a campaign, but rather a single influencer post. This effort to minimize the decision did little to reassure either side. Core customers, already alienated by Alyssa Heinerscheid's remarks about Bud Light's fratty image, saw the corporate messaging as evasive. Meanwhile, supporters of Dylan Mulvaney noticed the absence of any public backing for her. Mulvaney herself said that Bud Light had offered her zero support as the backlash grew. Internally, the company moved quickly to contain the fallout. Both Heinerscheid and her boss, Daniel Blake, were placed on leave in April 2023. The moves were not framed as firings, but the optics were clear. The architects of the brand's new direction were removed from public view. The company's official statements remained vague, offering neither an apology nor a defense, and instead emphasized a desire to bring people together over a beer. At the same time, AB InBev poured unprecedented sums into advertising. Bud Light's marketing spend more than tripled over the following months. The brand signed a high-profile sponsorship deal with the UFC, launched new campaigns featuring country music stars and comedians, and flooded the airwaves with messages aimed at reclaiming lost ground. Despite this, the brand's core customers did not return. The rapid personnel changes, the lack of a clear stance, and the scattershot recovery tactics all signaled a leadership team struggling to find its footing as Bud Light's market position slipped away. Sales data tells the story in hard numbers. In the week ending April 15th, 2023, Bud Light's US in-store sales fell 17% compared to the same week the year before. The next week, the drop widened to 21.4%. By late May, year over year, sales were down 23%, and by October, the decline reached 29%. Over the course of 2023, Bud Light lost an estimated $1.4 billion in US sales. AB InBev's North American revenue slid 10.5% in the second quarter and 13.5% in the third. The company's market capitalization shed more than $27 billion from its peak as the boycott dragged on. Retailers responded with shelf cuts, reducing Bud Light's space by as much as 7.5% in some stores. Nielsen and Circana scanner data confirmed the shift. Modelo Especial overtook Bud Light as America's best-selling beer in June 2023, ending a 22-year run at the top. By 2024, Bud Light had fallen to third place, trailing both Modelo and Michelob Ultra. Early 2025 figures showed Michelob Ultra, another AB InBev brand, claiming the number one spot. The portfolio migration softened the blow for the parent company, but Bud Light's collapse was absolute. In a market where loyalty is fierce but switching is easy, the scoreboard left no room for debate. Today, Bud Light's dethroning stands as a warning. In a tribal culture war market with low switching costs, brand dominance can vanish overnight if core loyalties are misunderstood. AB InBev shielded itself through portfolio strength, but the Bud Light collapse redefines how quickly consumer sentiment can turn. Your move, brand leaders.